I'll be honest, the last time I wasn't stressed out was back in elementary school. Now, even then, most of us had moments when we were nervous or anxious. The workloads increased as school went on, along with the responsibilities of becoming older. Maybe issues came up at home, and what followed was, well, you guessed it, more stress. Through this speech, I hope to bring your attention to the main causes of stress in young adults, in which many of you are and many of you have experienced the weight of handling more and more things that life forces on you for the betterment of the rest of adulthood. Understanding the main causes of stress in young people will help not only come to terms with what everything young person goes through, but also to the older adults who may have forgotten what living through these years is like. I myself am still a young adult and can speak from experience to which many of you will be able to relate or recall moments when you felt the exact same way about these causes. Through this speech, I'm going to review the main causes of stress in young adults, which are school, their home life, and the responsibilities of becoming older. Almost every young person will experience schooling at some point, and while the beginning years are easy and fun, as you grow older, these perceptions may change to some degree. School is one of the main causes of stress among young adults, especially since this tends to be where they are most of the day, even when they're in their actual home. Whether it is taking exams at school or working until the early hours at home on homework, young adults are constantly involved with school. From what I experienced back in high school and college, I dedicate a major part of my day and what I focus on towards doing well in school, and this leaves me not only with stress but also finding a way to manage time. With grades and percentages on the mind of every student, it is no wonder that many are stressed to do well and dedicate a lot of their time to doing well, especially from the adults in their lives. From Stanford News, in a survey of 4,317 students, 56% of the students considered homework a primary source of stress. With this, one can see that what happens at school and what happens involving homework has a significant impact on young adult students and the stress they develop. Younger people interacting with their peers is a large part of school. From the direct and indirect, students are conscious of those around them and want to find their place among the crowd. Despite me saying how I didn't mind how I looked or acted or dressed, there were still moments of stress in realizing that I was being judged or made fun of. In being around the same people for most of the day, most people don't wish to be recognized as this person or that person, and being pointed out worries young people. In a survey made by Pew Research Center of U.S. teenagers in 2018, 55% considered bullying a major problem. If someone doesn't fit in, then they're outcasted and treated differently, which causes stress to put more effort into fitting in. Not only are students doing schoolwork at school, but also at home, and the stresses of their home lives are then increased dramatically. The home lives of young adults are another main cause of stress, primarily due to certain living environments and potential financial issues that may arise. Where we live and what goes on in our homes can cause a great deal of worry and stress depending on what's going on. From my experience, I've had situations come up at my home that require my attention, which means I can't focus on other important things in my life. If young adults are faced with stress in their own homes, it's hard to say what kind of an environment they wouldn't be stressed in, seeing as most are either at school or at home. According to the National Library of Medicine, from a survey of 147 teenagers, 28% reported conflict in their home, 27% were having problems with their family, and 20% were concerned about their parents' relationship. When those that young adults depend on have issues themselves, it is hard to justify that stress will not be put on young people. The finances of a household are also extremely important. When putting a roof over a child's head and getting food on the tables into account, it can increase stress and difficulties. My family had gone through a couple of periods where money was tight and we had to make sacrifices, such as how much food we got and even the supplies we had to buy. If young adults like children aren't getting what they need to live a sustainable life because of money issues, then it's easy to say that this might cause them stress and wondering what will happen next. From the Board of Governors of the Financial Reserve System, we can find that in 2019, 1 in 10 adults struggled to pay their bills because of monthly changes in income. Issues relating to adults of families, especially financial issues, do cause stress to all in that household. Home life is where a young adult experiences responsibility, and this can translate to new stresses while managing troubles in their homes. The final cause of stress among young adults pertains to the high amount of responsibility placed on them when it comes to extracurricular and relationships. Young people need their peers. It's one of the main ways they connect with people their own age, and that's through extracurricular activities. I personally found it difficult to find an extracurricular that I enjoyed. I eventually did, but having a few years without the same people around me to connect with did pay a mental toll. Stress then showed up with constant worry about not finding people to connect with. It may be easy to stay in group, but managing to fit in with people is difficult. The United States Census Bureau reported in 2018 that 42% of school-age children were involved in sports, 30% were involved in lessons, and 28% were involved in clubs. Alongside dealing with school and their home life, young adults, and specifically those in school, had more on their plate to deal with, and this increases stress. Extracurricular activities are wonderful but can be daunting and cause stress. If they do find a group, relationships might be formed. These might be friendships or romantic relationships, but both require attention and sacrifices of time. In high school, I found myself dedicating time to friends and even a little with romantic partners, but at times I felt it was too much. Due to this, I felt stressed about having to manage time and still please those who wanted to be around me. The responsibility to find time was too much, and friends would leave, which caused more stress. Relating to romantic relationships, the Pew Research Center states that some 35% of teens have some type of experience in romantic relationships. This did include former and current partners, but it still shows that many young people have or are still involved with people their own age. To conclude, young adults have much on their plate, and to a certain extent, it's things they haven't learned to handle yet. As stated in the beginning, young people experience three main causes of stress in their lives, which include school, their home lives, and the responsibilities of growing up. All of such requires a balance of time and energy to stay orderly in their lives. We all remember the careless and fun moments of when we were younger in school, and we all remember just how much those changed as we grew up and faced issues of adulthood. What is expected of us is to either deal with these issues ourselves or let them drag us down. Most choose the first option and deal with stress until stress is just a normal part of life.